Hey guys, it's Welps. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on bow staff skill specializations and rotations because there was a bit of a confusion on my guide video. It's my fault, I didn't really explain clearly, so I'm going to be going over it again in this video. Alright, so first, I want to show you guys how to navigate Questlog. So in Questlog, you click on any of my bow staff page, and then you click on skills tab. And then the rotation I'm going to be showing you is going to be for the boss. So I'm using the bow staff bossing. You double click on it. And then you click on specialization. Here you can check all my trait points. This is how you check the specializations on skill tree. So if you want to see my PvP, for example, large scale, you double click on it. You click on specialization. You can see my specializations. Okay, so this is my bow staff bossing specializations, and people are still confused because in-game, the icons and the names of spells change depending on which traits you take. For example, the fire bombs. Chain thunder instead of chain lightning. Hellfire rain instead of meteor. So I'm not using any new skill that's only available in KR. It's just in Questlog, the icons don't change. So you just need to copy these specializations and you're fine. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you the opener rotation first and then explain in more details after. So you start with high focus, deadly marker, meteor, firebomb, barrage, chain lightning, infernal wave, strafing, zephyr. And then whatever comes up cooldown, so firebomb being your priority. Alright, so we start with high focus because obviously it's a buff. It's gonna increase your damage and reduce cooldown of next skills that you use. Then we go into deadly marker. Deadly marker increases your crit chance, but not for your party. Your party only gains extra hit, but that's not why we use it. The thing that makes deadly marker OP is that every time you or your party member crits the target, it's 1% CDR to everyone in the party. So you get the most value out of your deadly marker at the start because everyone has their cooldowns. Then we move on to our offensive skills. We start with Hellfire Rain because this is one of our biggest hitting abilities and it's going to be applying burn stacks. Then we go into Firebomb. And the reason we use this after Meteor is because Meteor is going to apply burns and each burn stack is 10 heavy attack up to 100 because you can only have 10 burn stacks. So we want to increase that heavy attack chance for Firebomb. Alright, so after Meteor and Firebomb, the boss should have 10 stacks of burn. Setting up for your next staff abilities to do the most damage. Because all these skills gain additional effect if the target has burn stacks. More burn stacks, more damage. So after Firebomb is your Fireball Barrage. Because the target has 10 burn stacks, you're going to be shooting 10 more projectiles, meaning more damage. Then your Chain Lightning or Chain Thunder, you're going to be doing 40% more damage with 10 burn stacks. Then Judgment Lightning. Each burn stack is going to increase your chance of double casting by 2.5%. So it's going to be 25% with 10 burn stacks. And then we use our Infernal Wave. Each burn stack is going to increase the damage by 10%. So it's going to increase by 100%. This will also reapply the burn, so it'll refresh your burn duration, so it's best to use last. And also each abilities have different frames, different animation speed. So it's best to use in this order: Chain Thunder, Judgment Lightning, and Infernal Wave. That's going to be the most fluid sequence. So after that, you do 3 strafing into Zephyr. Now, some people ask me, isn't it better to do 2 strafe into Zephyr and then another strafe? Because when you do 2 strafe, you have 8 stacks of Gale, and that's going to increase our Zephyr damage. But when we do 3 strafing, your Gale procs, and you're left with 2 stacks of Gale. Now, I have tested this many times, but your overall DPS is going to be the same. It's better you just do 3 strafing into Zephyr. It's just much easier, and there is no DPS difference. So after your first opener rotation, you use whatever comes off cooldown, with Firebomb being the priority. And your next priority is Deadly Marker. Now also, it's really important to keep the 10 burn stacks on boss, but that's easily achievable if you just keep spamming your rotation. But there are times where you can't continuously do your rotation, like you have to do boss mechanics and stuff. So when there's a downtime and you start your DPS again, and then the boss has like 2 seconds left on your burn, then your first priority is Infernal Wave to keep the burn stack, to refresh the duration. And then you just do your normal rotation again. Right, and then you keep DPSing the boss until you are almost out of mana, or where you have to do boss mechanic that you can't DPS. That's when you pop your Nature's Blessing first, and then Inner Peace, and that'll almost instantly refill your mana. So then you either move to cancel, or you can block the Q block to cancel. If you do block cancel, that's not gonna take away the effect of your rapid fire stance attack speed, and this one heavy attack where you have to stand still. But move to cancel is also fine because these effects remain for another 2-3 seconds. There isn't that much of a downtime. I also recommend these settings. Take off easy charge skills. If you take this off, you don't have to hold down a button for your focus firebomb. You just have to press once and it'll go off when it's full. So it's much easier to move around while casting. And take aimed skill lock on current target when using Meteor. So when you have target selected, you cast Meteor, it's gonna lock onto the target, it'll be centered, so you're gonna hit most of your meteorites. Now with the Meteor, the only place I don't recommend using in is Death Abyss. Every other boss has really big hitbox, so you're gonna hit most of it. But Death Abyss, it has smaller hitbox and this boss moves around a lot. In this case, you wanna replace your Meteor with Ice Spear. Take this off, take Ice Bombardment and extra damage. Also, even though Meteor is really big damage, if you just don't like the casting, this is your alternative. So I'll replace that. And the rotation is slightly different. So your buffs are the same: High Focus, Deadly Marker. You're going to Fire Bomb, Ice Bombardment, Infernal Wave, and then rest of your skills. The reason you use Firebomb first is because that's the only skill that's gonna apply burn stacks. And before using Inferno, you have to use Ice Bombardment because this one doesn't need any burn stacks to get additional effects. And your Firebomb is still traveling. If you hit your Infernal Wave before your Firebomb hits the target, you're not gonna get the additional burn stack. So Firebomb into Ice Bombardment, and by that time the Firebomb should have hit the boss, and then you go Infernal Wave, and yeah, rest of your skills. That's the only change. And in your skill spec, I take this because it's the remaining point after I've taken everything I need, and it just helps clearing the trash. But for the boss, you can take the projectile speed. This is actually underrated because you are able to apply the burn faster. And there are also times where your burn duration is like 2 seconds left on the boss, and for some reason your Infernal Wave's on cooldown. You have to use your Firebomb. With the projectile speed, you have higher chance of keeping that burn stack. Also, I had people ask me, why don't you take this for the guaranteed double cast on your Judgment Lightning? I've also tested this many times. This one adds casting time on your first cast, and I can assure you, you're not gonna like the casting. But also DPS wise, and I've tested this many times on a dummy where I stand still, so I get the most value out of it, but the DPS ended up the same. And in an actual boss fight where you have to move around, it's gonna actually become a DPS loss, because there will be a time where you have to move and your lightning is off cooldown, but you cannot use it. But if it was an instant cast, you're gonna be using it on every cooldown. And for the Deadly Marker, I've seen some people taking some points in this. First, the hit. You don't need hit for the boss in PvE in general. And the target. This can be really confusing. A lot of people think that you get additional stack of marker or something. But if you think about it, this skill does not have any stacks. So what this does is that when you use strafing, you put target stacks. Target stacks. This stack is used by Zephyr to increase the damage and cooldown. So this is gonna increase the target stack of your strafing, but it's not needed because with 3 casts of strafing, you already have the 10 stacks. And with high focus, if you're the only staff player in the party, you can take off this projectile speed or range or whatever you had put in and get the expand target to buff your party. And please, just because you're ranged DPS and also you gain some damage increase from sniper sense, don't stand too far in DPS. You wanna be within at least 15 meters of your tank, especially the tank is a GS, because you need the buff from Blood Devotion. That's gonna increase your damage by 50. And please, if you're a GS watching this video, please take this. And also Da Vinci, that's gonna increase attack speed. This is also 15 meters. And it's just easier to get healed. If you're far away, the healers have hard time. So yeah, be within at least 15 meters of your tank. Just be around the boss. Keep your burn stacks for more heavy attack chance and all your skill damage. Stand still as much as possible for rapid fire stance and extra heavy attack. Now for PvP, there is no real rotation. First of all, you want to take this off so that your AoE skills don't get locked onto target, so you can shoot anywhere you want. So yeah, for PvP, your main combo is Flash Wave, Blitz Reset, and another Flash Wave. Now you don't always have to double cast your Flash Wave. Just after your Flash Wave, reset it, and if it's a good Cyclone angle, just Cyclone that, and then do Flash Wave again. So you need to use a Cyclone, Tornado situationally. This is more of a defensive skill than offensive, so when enemies pushing in, that's the best time to use Tornado, not when you're pushing, because enemies are moving backwards. So when you're pushing, you usually just start with Flash Wave. You move forward, hit them, and then you get in position to Cyclone them. Make sure you're popping this Victorious Energy at the start of the fight. And this might be the most important tip. You wanna be constantly casting Healing Touch on yourself. The best way to keep casting that on yourself is to go into your shortcut settings, shortcuts, and go to use skill on self. So even though my hotkey is Alt 4 for this slot, I set it as one of my mouse buttons. So even if I have some target selected, when I use the mouse buttons, it's gonna cast it on myself. It's so easy. Now this can save you from getting like deleted. Now I know this is very hard, especially when you're pushing, but when you're holding position, like ripstones or whatever, when you're holding, just keep casting this, keep the 3 stacks. It's going to make so much difference. And also, you have to take this point, Nature's Blessing Vitality. So regardless of your stack, when you're low HP, you cast Healing Touch and Nature's Blessing. That's gonna almost make you back to full HP. Okay, I'm at really low HP, so I'm gonna cast Healing Touch and Nature's Blessing. And I have full HP. Another tip I can give you is that every dagger player is gonna use the smoke screens. This is gonna block ranged projectiles. The skills that can go through the smoke screen is Judgment Lightning, your Meteor, and Infernal Wave, because they're not projectiles. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Peace.